Welcome back, I'm Wavepunk, and this is day 75, I think. I've lost complete track of time in every sense of the word. I am so jet lagged right now. I just had a 5-hour nap in the middle of the day on accident. So if anyone ever questions my dedication to this project, no, I have never wanted to sit in this chair less. But I am excited to do what we're gonna do today. I talked about doing this on the plane, but I didn't really have access to tracks, or I didn't want to figure out how to do that through plain internet. I wanted to take the multimeter and the goniometer. How do you say this?
Goniometer.
So here in the goniometer here, we wanted to look at my music versus the music of other people. So I have downloaded a few tracks here, including Double Tap, which we had looked at previously on the channel. I heard you like Polyrhythms is the new virtual Riot track that's on his YouTube. That popped up. I was just fascinated to see what that looked like in a scope. The Fractal Universe by Matt Zoe, one of my favorite trance tracks of all time. And then the Stranger Things 2 Outside the Realm by Big Giant Circles. This was a track. I went to download this Go for Distance by Big Giant Circles off of his Glory Days EP, and then this popped up, and I was just very curious as to how that looks like in stereo space. So first and foremost, look at boss fight up here. You can tell just how much more variance. Remember I was talking about like I have like dynamically interesting tracks in a previous video. I was complaining about not knowing how to mix. You can really see it just by looking at the way this shape is formed versus all these other shapes from these other producers. And maybe this like middle section from Matt here is from Matt Zoe is the most similar to mine, but like this section here and like this section here really should look like this or like this. And you can see it almost starts to look like it up here, but this is like, it's just peeking out like crazy up here, and I'm losing a lot of information up here. So how to make it look like this and sound like this is gonna be a fun challenge. But looking at the multimeter and just playing my track through kind of its louder section here, what I'm seeing here is there is a lot, we do have a lot of width. The track is popping out to the side, so we're kind of making this shape generally with our sound in this section. Is that good? I don't know. I don't know what shapes we're supposed to make. Going off of Matt's track here, it's fascinating to look at what the Fractal Universe looks like and what would be kind of a similar section sound-wise. There's definitely more going on in my track, but it's a similar vibe, and his is so much more up the middle, which is interesting. It's also interesting the way that I think his limiter shapes this sound. There will be this very hard edge on the outside start to form, where mine kind of was like a circle. You can see these lines starting to come in for his sound here, like nothing's getting past this. What that means, I don't know. I think it might have something to do with the way that this meter like reflects information, but I feel like mine wasn't doing that even at its loudest points. Actually, I'm really curious now. We're at our loudest. Okay, so we're starting to do that a little bit up here. You can see kind of like us hitting the hard edge. I guess probably actually that's like the peaking is like it's hitting the edge of the speaker there. I don't know. Interesting though that this does seem like genuinely bigger. Okay, so it is the same there. Oh, that's it, just hitting the edges. Okay, cool, good to know. That's crazy. It's taking up like the entire space. It's almost peeking out on the edges here. And straight back up to mono. But the one thing I learned about this track that was really awesome before I realized the recording was broken was this section where it's mono. We're coming out of another like up the middle section, turns into a ball, and then it just stays a ball. It almost looks like it's rotating, like it's like spinning, but this sound is so round. And also the correlation over here starts to really dip into the red and into the territory we would typically say is bad. But I've listened to this track for years. I've never once been like, something sounds off about this section. This was probably my favorite section of the song. So little parity between left and right, and it creates this incredible landscape, which does make it fun. Look at that, it's literally just a sphere. It does make it fun when it goes back into... Look at that. It's like sound, and then like everything stops for the kick. Now we're much more middle. The correlations right back up. Let's look at our good friends over at Double Tap. Wow, so different. It's such a, it's like an oval. But I guess this is more similar. The section this track starts with is more similar to the middle section of Fractal Universe, where it's kind of this atmospheric. We're not driving a beat at you right now. This isn't drum and bass yet. So. Much wider though, just like across the board. Remember in our analysis video we said that the drums were like the thing that we were like, that looks like it's right at the middle. How does this feel? What you know about? They're getting this thing where it's like, it's not up the middle, but it's also not a ball. It's like the middle, but this, and it's just completely filling up. You notice they're doing the same thing that Matt was doing in his track, where it's basically filling up the entire middle spectrum here. But like, it's one line here plus a ton of information here. Like, it's so... Oh no, it's just so full while still being very mid-centric. What you know about? Still looks to me like it's spinning. What does that mean? I've never noticed that on my tracks. Oh, that it almost filled up the square on the sides. That drum hit. What was that? Look at that. We almost get the whole square. Okay, that's pretty impressive though. Comparing that to our biggest sections here. It's just quieter overall. At this, there's so much less symmetry. I don't know. The one thing I will say is that this is chiptune music, and the chiptune is intentionally very rudimentary, so I feel like the waveforms in a stereo scope like this should look much simpler and should be much more different than these very rich EDM sounds. So let's take a look at this track. Go for the Distance by Big Giant Circles. This is going to be, I feel like, much more like what I'm expecting. Or this will be much more similar to what we have going on. You already have the like leaning thing. So one thing I am noticing, I feel like on a lot of these tracks, is just how much more wide they're able to get it, while still not being too strange in the correlation. They're not destroying their listener's ability to like parse the two sides together. This side, from side to side here, compared to, I'd say like maybe here's one of the best. Because the thing I am noticing here is that every one of their songs is making this like this shape, where it's wide here, but it comes to a point in the mid. I don't know what that means. And part of me wonders if I were to just kind of slap some compressors and limiters on things and really kind of compress the sound down, would it naturally make that shape? And is that just what I'm seeing there? I'm just seeing compression. All right, we got at least one track on here we haven't listened to yet. Oh, we got two. Actually, I'm so curious what this Polyrhythms track is like. This one is less for science and more just, this is a really fun track sonically. So, does it have cool shapes? As you notice, correlation is all the way up the top. Ooh, look at that little click. Little click claps being this like shape on the outside is fascinating. You can like see a specific sound. Whoa! You could see all you could, like, there was a treble clef in there for a second. Wait, hold on, go back. That's wild. I think it's also worth noting that we were talking about what makes this shape, that Virtual Riot Striker is making this shape without grinding up against some sort of hard limiter, which maybe that's he's doing a lot of limiting on each individual track. Each of them is individually hitting those limits, but together they can create this kind of fuzzy edge versus the hard edge of the other tracks. Yeah, so the compression theory is not entirely out the window, but it is fascinating to note how this track that isn't maxed out does that same thing. There you go, that was fascinating. I'm so glad I downloaded that one. Lastly, I want to look at this one where it's this feels wide to me. I feel like this should right at the beginning be pretty ball-like. Yeah. Good ear. You can see the shapes in this one too, though. It is fascinating to me that in all the tracks we've looked at, none of them have gotten the full square. Never go full square, apparently. I don't know what lives over here. Is it like, honestly, maybe it's that can't, you really can't fill this out? I'm gonna guess because mid is the summing of left and right, and this would be like, these points would be the perfect opposites of like the exact subtraction of left and right, so they actually would destroy each other before they get there. So maybe there's like this hard edge here probably. I'm just guessing. You can't have a sound wave that is fully in left and fully not in right, so... Wait, okay, there's one more track I kind of want to hear. There we go, that's some dynamically interesting music. Look at that, it's all over the place. I feel seen. So the shape is asymmetrical like my shape is. It doesn't have a lot of like left and right being represented at the same time, but it is still creating this diamond egg shape. So that seems to be a strong indicator that that is a good thing. Even across wildly different genres, it's good to have everything be kind of full and symmetrical here. Its correlation's also pretty far down, but that kind of makes sense for a orchestra. So that was really cool. Did I learn anything exactly? I learned that when looking at that meter that shape, having a symmetrical diamond, where maybe the corners are missing to some degree, is good. What exactly it means, still not quite sure. I think I'm right, but I don't know that I'm right. I might look up a Gonion meter and see if I can like get a little bit more information on it. But not only was my track the least symmetrical of the ones we looked at, it was also the quietest, even in its loudest section. So there's just still a lot to learn there. It's been a good hour of doing this, and I appreciate you all for watching. Maybe we'll make some music tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here. See you tomorrow.